So hello, my name is Lancillian, and welcome to my channel. I'm here today playing some Killing Floor. I just thought I'd have a bit of a laugh. As you know, like every normal person in the world, I'm going a bit insane with lockdown going on. I thought I'd have a bit of fun. Um, so I'm playing some Killing Floor 2. It's one of my kind of cult favorite games of all time. It's a game made by Tripwire, and these are the same studios that made Maneater, which was the shark kind of game,
Morning. This is Dr.
and
Ogada Buyu.
you've also
We
got
need to shut
Chivalry.
down this Z lab. I've
Um,
got intel on
oh,
some new kind of toxin here. We need more data back at Horsley to
yeah, I
analyze
mean
it.
it's one of these kind of
This place is occupied. We've picked up a heat signature of the Patriarch. The
sec.
firewall systems in the HVAC have detected the alteration of the feed. You need to override. Well done. Then those bots will
Sorry, I
really
can't even hear myself think right now. I just get so distracted all the time by the kind of games like this because
on the next HVAC to override the firewall.
with everything going on. But yeah, sorry. So Tripwire are the same guys that made. I'm just going to turn this down. So Tripwire are the same guys that made Maneater, and they made Chivalry. I'm personally not played Maneater just yet, but I'm not sure really kind of what the bigger. I'm not really sure if I kind of get around to playing that game, mainly just because it's. I don't know. It's kind of like if I wanted to play a GTA-like game, I think I would just play GTA. I guess I kind of get the appeal for people who just have that gory side of themselves, but for me personally, it's just a bit. Oh God, load. But yeah, I think, jeez, but I think for me it's just generally a bit too gory. So it's quite like a fun little game, I think. Although I kind of appreciate any kind of gaming or development studio in general, like kind of try something new. I'm always a big fan of because it's quite a difficult world, especially for the games market at the minute, because there's so many studios these days. Like you have indie studios, you have so many indie studios. There's so many big established studios. 50 to 80% of them apparently are kind of owned by EA for some apparent reason, or if they're not owned by a bigger studio, then yeah. And I think one specific thing in particular, especially when it comes to game studios, tends to be how with games, it seems to be more about ticking boxes these days rather than just making a good game. So, in the past, it was kind of like they would just be like, all right, let's just see if we can make something and let's see if we can laugh. Whereas these days, it tends to be more about you know, how can we include as many people as possible? Now, that's not a bad thing, but sometimes, you end up with a lot of games that tend to be pretty. Um, sorry, I'm just paying attention to what I'm saying. But yeah, no, you tend to find like some studios then end up in a scenario where they focus too much on the kind of inclusivity and they end up just making a rubbish game. I mean, you can even argue you can there's a few games that tend to kind of go down that route. And I think, for example, the Last of Us 2 did that quite well, where perhaps they focused a little bit too much on some of the relationships with Ellie, to the point where they just killed off Joe, and it was like, why was it necessary? No, but it was necessary just specifically so Ellie could have, so the limelight could be more on Ellie, it could be more on the kind of relationship she has. So I don't know. For me, it's a little bit in that kind of aspect there. Um, and when it comes to gaming industry itself, I mean, you have things like, I mean, it's such a messed up place in the minute where, you have things like loot boxes, kind of, where we can see loot boxes, and we know loot boxes are assigned with gambling and things like that. But in reality, and then you have gaming companies arguing, oh no, they're not. Like, there's definitive proof. It is associated with gambling. It is a bad thing, and it's just crazy to see kind of gaming companies turn around and say, oh no, try and defend their profit margins to the point where you're sacrificing the welfare of little children these days, just so they can have a couple of extra bucks, kind of thing. So it's a very strange industry we kind of have compared to what we used to have. Whereas in the past, it was kind of like they would release something, you'd pay maybe 20, 30 quid kind of thing for a game. And it would be a functional game. I mean, there would be bugs, but it wouldn't be anywhere near the kind of levels we have now. Whereas now you could pay up to £80 for a game, if not more, and you'll be lucky if half of it works. I mean, I feel bad for Cyberpunk in particular because obviously that's the big one at the minute, where they released a game, they really tried to make it work, and it just didn't. Um, so I do kind of feel for them, and I hear they're being sued like twice over. So I really do empathize with the kind of Cyberpunk and CD, or kind of the studio that developed it, because in reality, I mean, I think their investors are suing them twice over, and I'm just kind of thinking, oh geez. And I'm not really a big fan of kind of like suing, kind of their idea to sue it, because from the investors' perspective, they're obviously saying, well, we were missold the game ourselves, and we were told it was way better than it. They obviously didn't expect the all the issues that came out of it. But in reality, it's kind of like these kind of issues have to be maybe not expected to the same level as they kind of came in. Oh god. Because let's be fair, I don't think anyone ever really expected Cyberpunk to have that many problems, or that level of kind of incompatibility with previous consoles or previous generations of console, especially with the amount of time they had to develop it. But then I also think that actually brings us on to another whole problem in the gaming industry, where you know you have people in there who don't develop games, people like the corporate people who market them, and the people who do the bills for the gaming studios. And these are the people who end up keeping their jobs at gaming industries because they're very manipulative and very they know how to survive the office environment. And then you have techies and devs and people like that who just uh, they're just there to do a job. They're just there to build a game for fun, or well, not for fun. They do it for work. But these are people who just generally are trying to do the best they can, and these are the people that tend to get fired because they're replaceable. They're seen as replaceable, and it's not true in the slightest. They're not. But I think that is a problem in the gaming industry we have to deal with. Because that's exactly why we end up with problems like we have now, where gaming companies are arguing against young people's health. Um, Jesus Christ, this game just still gives me the willies every now and then. But yeah, no, I do generally think, and I think that a big problem with that is the gaming companies are just run by people who just. I mean, obviously they're trying to make money, but they're run in the wrong way, in my opinion. There's a reason why big studios are starting to really struggle and smaller ones are really starting to, or indie developers are starting to do well. And it's because indie developers are just developers most of the time. They might have a small marketing team, maybe, but for the most part, it is just a couple of devs doing the best they can. And it works. Oh, geez. Oh, fuck. All right, okay. Sorry, I'm just going to Leroy Jenkins this shit. Oh, okay, never mind. Thank God. I would not have survived the Leroy Jenkins. But yeah, no, and for me personally, it just generally is one of those kind of, it's a strange one because the gaming industry, because I remember having a conversation a while back with someone who was saying like because they helped set up one of the creative communities in Scotland, and they were talking about how when they were doing research in the gaming industry, they were saying how toxic it was and how it's actually one of the most negative industries around, because of what people in the industry have done to it. And I don't necessarily mean the devs. Again, I'm talking more along the lines of, I have no idea what this gun does, by the way. Looks cool. But it's more like, again, the corporate people behind it, and they've all kind of converted it into this really negative industry. And I don't know how they've done it because from a young age, I've been I mean, you can see me. I'm a massive nerd, and when I was younger, I used to love playing Age of Empires. I used to love those kind of games, and it still baffles me to think about how we've come from the days of Age of Empires, the days where, I mean, I used to play it really stupidly, where I didn't know how to create any units, so I like literally, I think, tried to complete all the campaigns with nothing but the starting units. So as you can imagine, I didn't get too far. I did manage to get pretty far, actually, considering to be, but not quite as far as I perhaps would have hoped. And it's crazy to think we've come from that to what we have today, where we kind of almost insult people if they don't game, and we've become so even we've allowed the industry to kind of manipulate us as gamers, and they've and the corporate people, in my opinion, they've twisted this word into quite literally until it's the point that it's almost it's a buzzword, it's a marketing word, and a lot of gaming people have adopted it. A lot of perhaps I don't want to say fake gaming people, but people who perhaps are not necessarily interested in games, who don't understand that it's about accessibility. They don't understand it's something for everyone. Um, not every game is for everyone, and that's understandable. But the gaming itself is supposed to be for everyone because it's it's an escape. Whether it's Animal Crossing, whether it's Killing Floor, whether it's even if it's something like FIFA, everyone has their game. And the day I will never forget is when some my sister turned to me from a young age. I mean, she was always really into Harry Potter and really into. There was one we both got really into and really competitive with, which was, oh my sweet Jesus, it was it wasn't a holy game. It was Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup, and we used to love playing it. I would love to see a revamp of that game. Like, I don't think they ever will, but I would love to see it. And we used to love playing that. And it was the and that was when we were way younger. I don't know if any of you guys remember Quidditch World Cup, but whoa, cheap. But yeah, I don't know if you guys remember Quidditch World Cup, but it was the kind of game I used to play, and I used to love playing it. Ooh, God damn it. But and it was recently, like, when I say recently, I mean last few years. She came to me and said, "Oh, well, do you want to play FIFA?" Because she got really into that, and I was really surprised because this is someone who I would never associate as a gamer, and that's good, and that's what it's about. It's about accessibility. It's about people getting into gaming to, find something they enjoy. They don't have to, but it's there if they want to. Um, oh, it feels so good when you get a blast off with a shotgun. Whereas I think the marketing aspect of it, what it's become, is much more about as long as they make money, they don't care. Oh fuck, we lost someone. Where'd he go? Oh, there's. And that's what the gaming industry has become about. It's purely become about making money. Not to say it wasn't about that before, but it just feels a lot more like that now. Sorry, it looks like my toilet after a curry. But and it's amazing just to see how the industry has evolved in my lifetime, and obviously how it will be in the future. Because obviously we talk about how toxic the gaming industry is now, but they're talking about how they want to use gamification to to help with education, to help with all kinds of different industries. And in one aspect, that's really good. But could this toxicity that we have in the gaming industry right now actually move over? And actually, I do think that will happen. And I do think we're going to have a lot of the big gaming companies. So we'll have companies like EA, like Bethesda, or no, well, not Bethesda anymore. It would be Microsoft, I guess. Companies with, or even Rockstar. Companies with mixed reputations, let's say, because I've heard lots of good things about all these companies. I've heard lots of bad things about all these companies. I'm sure all you guys have, and it's and as they start kind of moving into the education sector, as they start doing this, I mean, let's be fair. Look at their AAA rated games. They're hardly the best, and I'm sure there will be a lot of companies specifically devoted to focusing on educational software and things like that. But I just kind of I think that, well, in reality is we're going to have a lot of companies out there which do half-arse things and do kind of just rush things out for the sake of it. And I mean, right now we're literally, and this isn't even exaggerating, we're literally having a massive debate about how um, even with definitive proof saying children are getting gambling addictions playing a lot of these games, we're literally having a debate right now saying, should we stop this? It shouldn't even be a debate. Yes, we should. But the fact we're even having that debate kind of worries me and makes me think perhaps we're not ready for something like gamifying the education industry, which is sad because it would help people so much. But I wouldn't trust the people who build the software. And if you look at the education sector right now, at least in the UK specifically, I can't talk outside of that. From my knowledge, I don't really think we're in that good a position to afford it either, because I can't see game companies doing it for a cheap price right now because I don't think there are any. I don't think there are enough ethical game companies that would actually be willing to do it. So yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of kind of things going on with the game industry right now. It's really, I really want to talk about it because it's a really far-fetching and wide industry. Jesus, ugh, me on a Friday night. Yep. But yeah, I do have positive things to say as well. I mean, it's I just it's something I've always been quite interested in the gaming industry because I think it's fair to say I'm probably one of the few gamers in my, I wouldn't say group because I don't necessarily have a group, but I absolutely am the only kind of person who I know that plays, games to relax, kind of socially. As I said, this vlog's more for this, well, banter really more than anything else. And I do feel quite passionate about the gaming industry because, and I think, like a lot of people, because like a lot of people, it's helped me. And I don't like to see what it's become. I don't like how, being a gamer is, fuck's sake, when you miss two shotgun shells in a row, Jesus. Um, but I don't like seeing what it's become. I don't like how I don't like how people exploit the industry, people who aren't genuinely interested in games. I don't like how they exploit it. I don't like how, I mean, you could say that about, no, I don't want to marry you. God damn it. But and I don't like to see how it's being exploited. I mean, in reality, every industry gets exploited. I know, boohoo, but it's still, to me, it's upsetting because I don't like seeing people take advantage of anything. The gaming industry has had, it's had to come up from, it's had to grow up with a pretty mixed reputation, at least in my younger age. Um, and it's had to grow up with that reputation because people thought, oh, only nerds will play games, only someone like me would play Age of Empires 2. And in reality, it has quite a wide base actually. Lots of people play it. Lots of people play games because it's fun and it allows them escape. And there's tons of reasons. I mean, you all will know the reasons better than, frankly, probably even me. Um, oh my god, how many are there? I know I should be at that spot, by the way. I know. Don't kill me. I'm just trying to get some kills because I normally, whenever I play these games, I normally like sit on the spot and then get like 4 kills. These are infinite. Like, why? Oh, you know what? I'm just going to go to the spot because this hasn't even moved up and I'm running out of ammo. Die, 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 die. This is me getting to the front of the sandwich line, by the way. By the way, what is it with Americans and calling everything a sandwich? And then like burgers, sandwiches. They're not sandwiches, they're burgers. And it's the same with pie. I didn't know pie was a pizza. Oh, fuck! Wrong button. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I didn't know pie was a pizza either. That was news to me. Go away, go away, go away. Jesus. I think we all need ammo pretty desperately, to be honest. Oh no, it's not 90. Okay, right. So we don't need justice, thank goodness. But yeah, no, and yeah, I didn't know like pie was a pizza until I worked for this company, and they were saying it's Pie Day. So I was like, oh, cool, I'll go get some pies. And they were like, no, 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 pizzas. And I was like, that was generally news. It is, of course, of all nights, Robert Burns' night tonight. For those of you who don't know, he was a Scottish poet who essentially allows us to eat haggis once a year. Like, it's his night. Like, it's traditional to eat haggis once a year. That sounds like me. No, it doesn't. That is exceptionally good for me. I normally don't kill that many. But yeah, it's Robert Burns night, so I've obviously haggis myself to the limit, and I'm ready to explode, as is every true Scottish person around. Um, I don't know. It's one of those things with like potatoes, because she 665. God damn it! Such an idiot. Such an idiot. God damn it! Should not have done that. Should not have done that. But yeah, no, it's yeah, because I met someone actually recently who was saying when they have their mashed potatoes, they actually don't put butter on it. And I don't know if this is just me being horrendously unhealthy, which knowing myself, it's probably me being horrendously unhealthy. But I just kind of was like, oh no, you gotta have butter with your mashed potatoes. Like you have to have something. Like I mean, I enjoy mashed potatoes by themselves. Don't get me wrong, but you have to have butter. No, it just makes it kind of like it's that kind of god tier level, when you have mashed potatoes. All right, okay, I'm actually going to do the objectives this time because last time was painful. Um, yeah, it's just goes. Yeah, I knew there was a way through. I knew it wasn't going crazy. Nope. Right. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Uh. 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 Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna. Jesus. But yeah, no, I just can't imagine. Like, sorry. Anyway, sorry, I got a bit distracted there. But yeah, no, I can't imagine having potatoes without or roast or mashed potatoes in particular without butter. It just is madness. Um, when I last a while ago, I went to Norway, and actually, of all things, because they are very strange with some of the foods they like, as I understand it. And one of the things I saw when I was there was because I'm not a big because I was staying with a friend there. This was a while ago, like pre-lockdown, and um, and one of the things they were saying was, because they were trying to convince me to have some porridge because that's what they ate, and I'm not the biggest fan of porridge. I just don't like the texture of it. And one of the things they were trying to convince me to try was the Norwegian porridge. And on the box, they were like, "Yeah, have it with some bacon." And I was like, "Why? Why?" I don't think I ever let them live it down. But then again, they have some strange food, like where they poison the fish. They get a fish, they put it in poison, leave it in a tin until it literally turns the shape of a football or something, and it's something like that. And it's just, I mean, I'm sure it's very nice. Will I try it? Not unless under duress. Do you? Yeah, I mean, there's also something else which I'm looking forward to streaming. I mean, this is kind of more of a test, as I've already said, um, tonight, just to see how things go, how it sounds and stuff. But there's something which is coming up soon, which is a charity event which I do, which we game for 24 hours, and we raise money for a charity called Special Effect. And the big thing about Special Effect is they essentially they go around. Um, Children, or not just children, I believe it's just people with physical disabilities where they might not be able to play with a controller or with a keyboard or mouse. What they do is they essentially create a new interface for them, and they modify games so that everyone can play, or as many people as possible can play. So we'll be raising money for them. So I'm hoping to be able to stream what we do on this channel, because and hopefully build up a little bit of a following, at least for a little bit of that, because it will help them out massively as well. But I mean, that's part of the plan, at least that way. But yeah, coming back to okay, sell first, sell the game. It's not the game. Uh, I quite like the multi-action, but I'm not sure if it's 150, 102. I actually think this is better. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe not I don't know. I prefer this. It's considerably cheaper, and considering it's considerably cheaper, I think value for money is kind of with this, to be honest. I don't know. That's my own opinion. Sorry, I totally forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, special effects. So yeah, I mean, part of the plan is I'll hopefully have the at least part of the stream on this channel, where we'll be able to upload it, and you guys will be able to see what's going on there. I think it's supposed to be going on in roughly a month or something, but I'll update it as I go through, as we go through this as well. But yeah, coming back to the game with Killing Floor, I mean, what can I say? It's a very straightforward, very basic game. It's a very straightforward, very basic game. I mean, it is what you see. It's a bit gory, a little bit like Doom. Maybe it's a bit like Doom in terms of you shoot a lot of things. Maybe a little bit Left 4 Dead-y in that aspect as well. I mean, gameplay is pretty fun. I mean, it's a pretty old game, so reviewing wise, there isn't really a lot to do, or that hasn't been done. Oh, my Deliveroo order. It is on the way. I mean, honestly, I wonder if this is going to be the future of the delivery industry, where you have 5 or 6 people guarding. For fuck's sake! Oh shit! I reloaded at the wrong time. Oh no! Whew, close. But, this is going to be the future of the delivery industry, where you've got like 5 or 6 people delivering, protecting like a drone, and like all the college students trying to fight for it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what they do now, right? The fuck? How? But yeah, yes. I mean, game wise, I mean, it's fun. I think Tripwire kind of has a specific game like type in mind when they develop it. So they seem to quite like the kind of like games like this where they're just kind of a bit more senseless. I mean, there obviously is a story behind them, but do not. Okay, good. Um, they obviously have like a specific game type in mind. They do when they make games. So a bit more random violence, I think, than anything else. But to be fair, games like this can be very therapeutic. And when people talk about how games promote violence and this, that, and the other, games like this, even this, it's really not. I mean, it's if anything, it's quite a stress reliever. Sometimes when you have a stressful day, it's just so good to play. And even when you're not having a stressful day, even if you're just sat and you have nothing to do, and especially during lockdown and things like that, it can allow you to. God dang it! Sorry, I'm just literally these invisible ones are all over the place. Um, but the good thing about this, I personally think, is it can allow you to get back into teamwork and team building. And for a lot of you know I don't want to call them gamers, but for a lot of people who play games a lot, it's quite difficult for them to socialize because there's a lot of people who are very internally focused. I totally mind blanks of the names. I'm just gonna have to be an idiot and call it internally focused. But a lot of people are, they're not very social. They don't go out a lot. So, people like me, for example, I actually don't go out a lot. You can probably tell. Good idea. I play games to relax at best. I take part in the occasional competition because I know I'm not the best, but I don't necessarily care. For me, gaming is just a stress reliever. It's a bit of fun. I do take some games a bit too seriously, probably fair, but who doesn't? It's you don't want to just get your ass whooped whenever you play a game. Um, mm, I know I didn't say I want to go for the Doomstick just because I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious about the Doomstick. But yeah, no, and for me, and that's what gaming's about. Everyone has a different type of gaming. I mean, the kind of games I love playing are like RPG games where you can properly like lose yourself in them, and they're just so good. For me, what has happened to this person's health? Jesus, get some water. Okay, fair enough. He doesn't want it. Get some armor, you fool. Wow, he is suicidal. Come here. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Crack, 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 crack. Dang it. Yes. I love when that happens. No, but and yeah, but when people talk about how this like promotes violence and things, I truly think rubbish. I mean, I understand at a glance if you do absolutely no research whatsoever why they would think that, because you see violence like this in a game and it can horrify people because one of the things which hasn't really happened in our generation, or was only happened in our generation. The hell they go. Is seeing stuff like this though. I mean, because let's be fair, before our generation, if my parents, for example, saw this, they might be a bit not horrified because even they've become desensitized to violence and stuff in the last, 10, 15 years or whatever, at least to the level that it's at now. No one will stand in the way of me and my Greg sausage roll. Oh my god, Greg sausage roll the best. Sorry. That is a big problem with me. I get distracted by food a lot, or just anything shiny, really. But no, when it comes to violence and things like that, I think a lot of people, if my parents were to see this, they'd be a bit shocked, and I understand why people in positions of governmental power would, fuck's sake, give me a heart attack. But I understand why people in governmental power would think at a quick glance, I understand why they would go, yeah, these games must be contributing to like violence and things like that. But I think you have to. Oh, for fuck's sake, where am I going? Okay, I'm going. I don't want to go this way. Save me! Oh fuck this! I have to go this way. Shit! 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 Don't kill me! Don't eat me! I really hope you guys are killing them. But yeah, no, I understand what people would think that games do, but if you actually ever talk with half the people that play these games, if you ever actually talk with developers who make them, for that matter, not even just the people who play them, but actually talk with people who make them, and you'll actually see they're probably some of the nicest people you'll meet. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're probably some of the most alcoholic people you'll meet as well. Oh, piss! The V always throws me off.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
No fuck, just but and they are some of the nicest people you'll meet, and I think as well a large part of this problem comes down to, and I've said it already, this channel, how corporate people are ruining the gaming industry, but I truly think they are coming down. A large part of the problem comes from them because when they when the government turns around and says, we think that these violent games are contributing to problems, go away. um, they're wrong. They're turning to the corporate people because they're their friends and they know them from whatever posh school or university they went to. Because let's be fair, techie people aren't exactly, they'll go to posh, fancy universities because they are very fancy for technological kind of degrees these days, but they won't be friends with people in government, whereas corporate people, they're very good at networking, they're very good at kind of making sure they know the right people. And I think the problem is when the government turns around to them and says, oh, we think this is happening, you have too many people thinking the same way, and then the corporate people turn around to the government and say, oh yeah, we think so as well. And then that's why we end up with a situation where governments of the world say, we need to make games less violent, we need to make sure, we might even consider banning them. And this in itself does become a problem with regards to gaming in general, because gaming risks becoming censored. And like all forms of art, gaming is a form of expression. Gonna slap you with my pizza box, which is a tablet. Why am I so slow? How much does this tablet weigh? Get the fuck out of here. God, pimp slapped her to death. Bear with me. Um, and that's why we end up with that situation, though. And it's not okay. It's not good because I think if you start censoring art forms, and gaming is an art form. If you start censoring that, then you start to control the world. And I actually and this is where I think places like YouTube and hell even Twitch, they're kind of trying to kill that creativity, that different way of thinking. Um, I mean, they say they're not, and I'm sure they would argue till they're blue in the face that they're not. But if you go against Twitch's guidelines, so I mean, YouTube probably more than Twitch, let's be fair. But if you say something that they don't like, then they can boot you off their platform at any time, and they reserve the right to do that. And while that rule is necessary, because people could use these platforms for malicious means, whatever they might be. You do have people that sometimes just say something slightly controversial, but and we kill that controversy. We want to just get rid of it. We want to throw it and just say no, we don't like controversy here. But why don't we like controversy? Why are we just chucking it away? There are some people who deserve to be banned and kicked from Twitch. And the same with YouTube. I would never argue that. Absolutely, as I said, the rules are there for a reason. But there are absolutely people who, perhaps might just say the wrong thing. So, I mean, YouTube are where I kind of have examples where, they're kind of banning people for, I think a really good example was when, Daz Games got kind of a strike for, I think one of his videos had a little bit of side boob, or something like that. And you're kind of just looking at that thinking, are you actually joking? Like, just because one person might have complained, and it's kind of like, I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, why why is that bad? In some parts of the world, people can walk around, a woman can walk around completely topless. So why do we have to adhere to your kind of definition of what's appropriate? Why isn't there a more universal one? Now, you can argue this for years and years and years, and we still wouldn't be anywhere because some people absolutely will. Shit, I gotta go upstairs. Because some people definitely, they think they're right and they're entitled to their opinions. My own kind of 2 cents on it is, well, if you don't like it, then don't watch it. Oop, shit. Absolutely. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But apparently, we seem unable in this generation, or not this generation. I mean, more. I mean, from the memes, I would say our parents' generation, but I think it's unfair to kind of generalize that much. Um, Fuck's sake, guys. But people, but I think it's unfair to generalize. But apparently we seem unable in this day and age to just kind of take something and then just kind of deal with it ourselves. We have to let the world know how it's unfair. We have to. Fuck. This is fine. I mean, I'm actually happier now. So, see, violence solves everything. That's the message. No, it doesn't. But it's that kind of that overall censorship, even from the kind of streaming platforms, Twitch, YouTube, where they say, well, you can put your content on our platform, but it has to be aligned to our rules. And their rules are very, for some people, their rules are very shallow, in terms of they don't give a lot of creativity. Kind of, they don't allow you to do a lot of controversy. And art form is controversy. That's how the human race has actually progressed to the point we are. We laugh at ourselves because we make stupid rules, and we do make stupid rules all the time. Whenever we feel we get comfortable, we make another stupid rule, and that just seems to be the kind of way we are. But it's okay to laugh at ourselves, and I think that's definitely an ability we've just lost for whatever reason. And that's one of the reasons I like games like Killing Floor, because it's mindless, it's just fun. There's nothing controversial around it. Everyone dies, everyone kills, and it's just fun. There's nothing for anyone to get offended about. I mean, unless you're a pacifist, but this is video game violence, so I don't really know how that would kind of stick in with that. But so I mean, it's just kind of one of those crazy things where I really wish we would just grow up a bit. I wish people would grow up, and in reality, that will never happen. There always will be people who get offended by things, and there will always be people who believe it's private companies' kind of jobs to mitigate us and control what we should and shouldn't be saying. And I disagree with that. I disagree with it massively because I think the moment you kind of trust a private company to do something, you're at someone else's mercy. In terms of I'm suddenly at Jane from accounting's mercy because she doesn't like she wants to try her hand at editing today and she doesn't like a specific thing that I've said. So all of a sudden, I end up chasing this guy around with a medical syringe, which he for some reason is scared of me. Come back here. I know what I'm doing. See, I don't know if he's baiting him. Kind of looks like he is. Nope, he found him. Thank goodness. But, and it's that kind of and it's that kind of way of thinking that I'm not really a big fan of. 5 out of 8. I'll sell it just because I can afford it. God damn it. Okay, I can't afford it. Okay, so if I get rid of that, what am I going to do? Because I do like that. I could always go for that, to be fair. There's also the Dragon Breath. Apparently is the best one. I do like that. Why don't I sell that? Go for that, and then go for that. Do that. Go for a kaboom stick. There you go. Like ultimate shotgun. Ultimate shotgun build. Oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. But yeah, no, and it's kind of and it is just kind of one of those crazy things. I think, especially when it comes to streaming and when it comes to YouTubers and stuff, you are really at the mercy of someone who is completely out of touch with what the fan base want. And again, that's another big issue the gaming industry faces. We as gamers have supported an industry where we quite literally are at the point where the people in charge, the people who actually influence the gaming industry, are people who don't really know anything about it. These are people who they did a marketing degree and they think they know, or they did an accounting degree, and again, they did an accounting. See, shut it. They did an accounting degree, and and they just came to a gaming company, so they assume they know about it because they did some light research. But it's without getting too kind of philosophical, because I can only talk from my own experiences. Um, but from my own experiences, it's kind of and from the kind of experiences I've read from others, when you talk about how gaming has saved so many people, because whether it's people have made friends and they can suddenly and it has stopped people from kind of doing dark things to themselves. It's allowed people to communicate across the world. It's brought us all together in a whole new kind of different way, which in the last 20, 30 years we never would have thought would be possible. And we've allowed that to be controlled by people who have no idea what that's actually like to experience. They know what it's like to read. They know that they know the statistics, but they don't actually know. But they don't actually know what it feels like because they haven't experienced it, most of them. And when they create a game, they're close one. They they know the statistics. They know that X amount of people will buy X game, and they know how much money that game will make. But they're not thinking, and they know that X amount more people will buy the game if they, X amount more people will buy the game if there is a, female lead in it. And I'm all for including more female protagonist characters. I 100% am, for the record. But I just wish they would be more. I wish more decision would be based more on gameplay choices and gameplay experiences rather than just ticking a box. Why don't you? Oh, thank God. Because these people that make these decisions for the company's reason or for the CD project, for example, these are the people that will be the first people to run away the moment the game runs into any trouble. And there's no doubt in my mind the people who are going to get in trouble for that game will be the devs. And the devs were probably the first one to say, we need to do more work in this game, or we need to focus on compatibility. And there's no doubt in my mind the people who would have, and this is me talking speculatively, I don't know, but there's no doubt in my mind the devs probably would have been saying before the release, look, this is going to go really badly for console release. And I'm sure the corporate people would have taken one look at that and gone, yeah, but how much money can we make out of it? And then we'll just patch it later. And it's those kind of economical decisions that are ruining the gaming industry. They're doing it because it's cheaper and easier for them to do, so they can fix it later. Sorry, yeah, it's my thermos of tea. I am a massive tea fan, possibly addicted. I don't think I'm ever. I don't think I ever have a day where I don't have tea, like a big jug of it, which is, tea's good for you. I hope. Okay, let's give you some money. There you go. You should be able to buy armor. Please buy armor. Please buy armor. Buy armor. Buy armor. Yeah, God. But you're gonna message him and be like, it's giving him abuse. Now, I was gonna ask if he needed more money for armor. But no, and that's one of the reasons I said I enjoy this game. Now, for all I know, the studio that made this, sorry, I literally had to write it down because my memory's so bad. Tripwire, this is not even that difficult. I need to remember. The studio Tripwire. For all I know, they could just be the same. They could be another company run by corporate people and people who don't, do it. And that in itself isn't okay either, because the people who make the games are the people who end up suffering. And it's not good when that happens. And I think again, more does need to be done to protect the developers of a game. Um, because most of them are shafted in terms of, they'll make a game, they'll put all the hours in, they'll be slave driven right up until the point it's made. And then the moment it's made, the moment it's making money, they'll get rid of them and then they'll just say, "Tara," and that's not okay. And that's why I try, emphasis on try, to make sure that when I buy games, I look to see if they're indie made. Now, you sacrifice sometimes with indie the quality, sometimes, not always. Quite a lot of the time, actually, especially in this modern day with the kind of engines and stuff available, indie games are getting better, which is nice to see. But it's nice to see mainly just because. Where's this guy? If he's downstairs, you're in. He's downstairs. I'm going to clear these guys out. Cool. Like, find you little bitch, Jesus. But yeah, no, and it's not good that the people who kind of market the game end up kind of making the most money out of it, and it's not okay for me that I do my best to kind of make sure that when I buy a game, it says I try and make sure it's either a studio that looks after its teams or a studio that perhaps is indie run. Am I just going the wrong way? I feel like I am. I got a bad feeling I'm literally missing this whole fight. Shit. I think he's over here. I am like just lost him. Jesus Christ. Oh, oh, it came out of nowhere. Okay, we need to group up. I don't know why I'm really jumpy tonight. Where is this guy? I'm just going to write in chat just saying stay together because there he is. Freaking hide and seek this. Ow. Don't run out of ammo, don't run out of ammo, don't run out of ammo. I think we're going to lose this one. I'll have you know that my teacher said I was unteachable. Oh, cock. Well, fingers crossed my team will win. I'm not sure they will. I'll be honest. I'm hoping they will, but we'll see. But when it comes to a lot of these kind of gaming industries, as I said, I think there's a lot we could change about it. There's a lot we could do better, and most importantly, I think there's a lot of people we could get rid of from it. It's an industry that keeps on giving, and to people who create and people that actually create and develop the games, fair enough, they're always more than welcome. But to people who just take from the industry, for people who just and I'm not necessarily saying marketeers because marketeers, market games. Without them, probably wouldn't hear of half the games that are out there. But people, for example, who are just purely corporate people. Oh, you find my gun. Or he had one of his own. Um, people who, for example, just kind of, their entire job role is just to get rid of devs, or to bring in the right team and then get rid of them as soon as they kind of have done their job. Those kind of people just don't belong in the gaming industry for me because, or any industry actually, they're pretty heartless people. And you can argue, maybe they're necessary because they can keep, they can keep companies afloat. Um, perhaps otherwise, we'd lose some of those gaming companies which we all love so much. But at the same time, for me, again, it's just more, what you're doing is you're getting people to create something for you, and then you're getting rid of them because the salary which they earn, which they have earned, is too much for you all of a sudden. But you needed them 2 seconds ago to do something for you. So I don't know. It's my own kind of two pence on it, generally speaking. And I think in general gaming companies, and especially the big ones like EA and the Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo need to do. Wow, GG. Now where did I die? That's gonna be the question. Where did I die? Oh, here it is. Give me my gun. Thank you. But I think more needs to be done by the kind of existing gaming companies to kind of reward players for kind of being what they are. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean they need to give stuff away like they do, because I mean they do that, and fair enough to them for that. But in terms of you have a lot of, so for example, Nintendo is a really good example. When they, you know, at the beginning of the first lockdown here in March last year, the stock supply of Nintendo Switches was completely out. You couldn't get it in the UK at all. And, they were still selling them at kind of full price where, they thought, oh, well, here's a quick way to get money. They just released Animal Crossing. They charged people, I think the best part of, it was, goddamn, why? It was so close. You have a company that was charging best part of 280 odd pounds for the console, £230 or whatever it was, and then they still on top of that they did a bundle for a while where they did like a link, sorry, not link, they did like a um, uh, they did an Animal Crossing edition of the Switch. But what they also did was it wasn't just an Animal Crossing edition. It was they also just sold a bundle of the Switch where they gave the Animal Crossing with it. Now, I kind of thought at the time, like, oh, cool. So, it means people who, obviously buy the Switch can get Animal Crossing slightly cheaper. But no, it wasn't. They didn't make it any cheaper or any, like, easier to get. They just put the two together. You didn't get any discount whatsoever on Animal Crossing. You didn't get any discount on the Switch. You just paid full price for both. And I was kind of thinking, in the middle of a pandemic, you really could have done more. Nintendo's a big company. They can absolutely afford to give a little bit of a discount to people who, we're in the midst of the biggest job losses we've ever had. We have, done, a lot of people are out of work. A lot of people are more depressed than ever. A lot of people more alone than ever as well, being isolated from friends and family. And the least you could have done to help out would be discount a little bit. Even 5-10% would have been better than nothing. But they instead decided, nope, we're going to charge full price. And that again just shows to me where a company's morals are. And for me, that just showed that Nintendo doesn't really have morals in terms in the way that happens. A lot of people don't necessarily mind that, but for me, that just kind of says, well, look, Nintendo, you've had a pretty big market share for a wee while. You pretty much dominate the handheld consoles. Sony tried, Microsoft tried. The fuck is that? Oh my god. You've dominated handheld markets for a while. And now's your time to potentially give something back. And instead of doing that, you have just instead of giving something back to the people who literally keep your business alive, you just kind of exploit them. And there's no other way of saying it. They absolutely exploited them. I've never been a massive Nintendo fan personally, in terms of I've never got into Animal Crossing or anything like that. But that's just because it's not really my style of game. I do love resource management though, kind of games. But yeah, I mean, for me, as I said, it's. I mean, this whole episode, I'll end at the end of this. This whole kind of first stream is more just been kind of a comment more on the gaming industry as a whole. But yeah, I mean, there are positives in the industry, which I'll probably try and go into next time. Um, but I think overall for me, it just generally is a bit more. I wish most companies were a little bit more humble, or that little bit more careful. I know that's kind of like wishing for Santa Claus to be real, but maybe one day. Yes, final kill. I helped. There. Honestly, I amaze myself whenever I survive these, which is very rare on normal difficulty. No, I actually do okay. But anyways, well, I thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day or evening or whatever it is whenever you're watching this. And yeah, thank you for checking out, and I hope to be bringing you more in the future. Thank you.